Hello. Hello. Today I show you how to fix an iPhone 7 screen. As you can see, I've got the iPhone 7 matte black. The screen is cracked. As you can see in here, I've got the brand new screen replacement. Okay, so I give you a few tips and advice how to do it at your home, because I'm at home at the moment. So I prepare the screen first. You see the blue tape. Some screens they doesn't come with them, but that obviously does. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking off the tape because I want to make the flex straight. Okay, something like that. Yeah, it's quite good. Let's put the screen on the side. The only thing I do as well, remove that. Save me time later. I've got a little bin underneath. Okay, let's put that on the side. So as you can see, the crack is quite bad in there, and the iPhone 7 screens, they not as easy as the other screens to be removed. So what I do, I get a little bit of tape, just put on the top of the screen, yeah, just to prevent the glass from cutting my fingers. Okay, a little bit on the other side as well. Let me just cut the unwanted tape. Okay. I will explain to you in a minute what kind of tools will you need. This is really basic repair. It's done at home. If you want to start up your own business, I will be putting more videos. It's very easy to fix iPhones. I've been doing all the phones, but I do iPhones for a few years now. Working from home and gives you a bit of nice extra cash. And if you like technology, you can learn, and it makes me happy when I fix them. So it's not only about making money, also about doing what you like. So I'm based in the UK and I work from home for quite a few years now, and I decided to do those videos to help you out and just teach you how you can fix your cracked screen. So instead of paying, for example, I charge £70 for the iPhone 7 screen replacement, and the good quality screen costs around £30. So imagine going to the shops. In the UK shops they charge around £100 for the screen replacement. So save you between 60 and £70. Should be good. Now to make sure, I've got my little working toothbrush. It's not my own toothbrush, you don't have to worry. No silly comments later on. This is just working toothbrush. Okay, so these screwdrivers you will need, first of all, metal pry tool to lift the screen up, plastic pry tool to lift the connectors before you disconnect the battery. Remember, the most important thing, never disconnect the any connectors, battery, LCD, with the metal pry tools. I had a customer 2 days ago. He was trying to replace his battery. He left the battery connector with the metal screwdriver, made the electric shock to the logic board, burned the logic board. Boom, iPhone 6 ready for bin. Nothing you can do because it fries the memory chip, and because of iOS 11 they not very easy to replace anymore. So, but I'm not gonna talk about the memory chips. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so the first thing, oh yeah, so you need metal pry tool, plastic pry tool, cross screwdriver, 5-star screwdriver to take the bottom screws off, and you need the special plus, I don't know how you call those screwdrivers, like pentalobe screwdriver or something like that, because iPhone 7 have new type of screws inside the iPhone. Apple tried to make it more complicated, so if you need any direction to the tools you need for it, please let me know in the comment section below, and I will point you in the right direction. So as you can see, I'm removing the both screws at the bottom up there, and now I will start to lift the screen. If you had any previous experience in repairing iPhone screens, since iPhone 5, 5C, 5S, 5SE, iPhone 6, 6 Plus, 6S, 7, 7 Plus, the screens lift like that. But with the iPhone 7 they changed, they put the, as you can see, connectors on the side in there, so it's quite tricky because you need to lift the screen like that, but only a little bit, like 2.5 centimeters, because you might snap the connectors on the top. So lift it slightly, then you need to pull it down because you've got plastic clips that holds the screen, but when you pull it you have to be really careful as well, because the screen is held by adhesives underneath, and you need to be really careful because you need to pull it for like half an inch, because you've got the front camera connector over there. So I catch myself the first screen on the iPhone 7 I've done it, I pulled it too hard and I snapped the actual front camera flex, and I had to replace it. So to save you stress and, you know, spending extra money on the flexes, they're not very expensive, but still, just be careful. So I start with the corner, as always, just go underneath. I just want to make sure I do it slowly, because as you can see, that bottom corner is quite badly smashed, and it's so easy now to break it. And I put the tape on the actual screen just to make sure the glass doesn't go everywhere, because if it's shattered like that, it's very super easy to actually damage the screen, and the glass just break even more and more, and you end up having a glass everywhere. So I've got little scalpel blade. You don't really need that, you know, if you're really basic and never done it. I've got that just to cut the tape, so it's easier to take it off. Okay, so we've got that side done. The other side looks much better. So slightly, remember the gap cannot be too big, because it's so easy to damage the connectors. Okay, as you can see, slightly lift up there. You've got the connectors in there, in between. I don't know if you can see them, if they're visible on the camera or not, but they are over there. Okay, so as long as it's lifted slightly, bloody tape. Yeah, what I do now, I just hold the actual housing, pull it down slightly so you can see the top screen start separating, but there is quite strong adhesive on the top in there, so I pry that with the metal thing. To lift the screen you can use the metal pry tool, you don't have to be worried about the plastic one yet. Okay, just cut through the tape, and as you can see, yay, voila. Okay, so I've got the screen on the side, that's the flex I told you about. So the first thing I do, because believe me or not, that's quite stretched and it's so easy to damage it. And I've got two little screws with the cross screwdriver, take them off. Remember, the most important thing I always repeat myself and to all my friends or people that start repairing, keep the screws in the same order. That's the most important thing. So at the end of the screen replacement, you have all the screws in the place they should be without any confusion. Yeah, so that's disconnected. I know I just disconnected with the metal pry tool, shouldn't be doing it, but I've been doing it for so many years, so I'm quite confident with it. That's the like a triangle screwdriver I told you about. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws holding the charging port connector, touch connector, home button connector, and the battery connector. It's just protection, so if you drop your phone, they don't disconnect themselves. The thing you have to be aware of, after getting a screen replaced by yourself on your iPhone, it won't be waterproof anymore. The thing, if you go to Apple, you pay like £230 or something like that, 250, I'm not sure how much. You see, I'm using my nail to lift it up. That's the safest thing. And that's the battery connector in there. So that's disconnected. As soon as disconnected, there's no power going through the actual phone. So you can feel safe and remove the screen. Put the housing on the back and half of the job done. Simple as that, okay. So what do we do first? What I always do, I remove the front camera, facing camera flex and the earpiece. It's also the microphone and proximity sensor and lighting sensor. So it's one little flex but contains so many parts. So also connector for the speaker to connect to the logic board, the earpiece. So we've got 6 screws, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom. Remember, as you can see, you have to be careful because the speaker is magnetic. As you can see in there, I always put them in the order. That's how I learn, and it's the best way. You know, I've been doing it for so many years, and I catch myself it's much better and confident if you actually lay them in the order. So later on, you know where they are, how they go, because they're all slightly different in sizes, different in length. So it's much better to actually take care of how you put them on the side. And yeah, it looks like that. So first thing, you lift the camera slightly, try not to touch the lens because it's very easy to leave the fingerprints on it and very difficult to clean them. So I put the speaker, you can see that's the earpiece speaker, a little dusty in there. It's not difficult to clean them. Got 4 metal points that touch the actual flex. And now is the tricky part. As you can see in there, that's held by the adhesive. The whole flex is just one unit. So to start it, you need to leave that side first. Make sure that end come out a little bit, and in there is a proximity sensor in the plastic bracket. So you have to be careful when you pull it out because it's very easy to break the proximity sensor, that it stays in the bracket and the flex come out. So I just put in between, instead of pulling the actual, I'll show you in a second. Instead of pulling the actual flex, I try to move the plastic bracket. So in that case, when you try to move the plastic bracket, it bends and it pushes the proximity sensor out without damaging, and it's just much easier. I'll show you what I mean. So now, very gently with the little tweezers, just lift it up slightly and slowly, not to, you always, it's better to take care, better to be slow, better to do it for 1 hour instead of half an hour. But before you get that experience and confidence with the phone, it's better to be careful with it. Okay, you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there's a loudspeaker microphone. I don't know if you know, iPhone just, oh yeah. So that's the all entire flex come out. As you can see, the front camera, that's the grounding for the earpiece, that's the proximity sensor, lighting sensor, and you've got the loudspeaker microphone. All the iPhones, they have 3 microphones. They've got bottom microphone to be used for the normal regular calls. You've got the top microphone, which is used for loudspeaker calls, and you've got the microphone on the back, which is noise cancellation microphone. So if you look at the back of your iPhone and you see in between the camera and the flash, you've got that little dot, like a little hole. That's the noise cancellation microphone. So you've got 3 of them. So the bracket I was telling you about is just there, and proximity sensor sat in it. And when they knew in the original screen, you have to be careful because it's just quite tight, and if you pull it too quick, you can easily damage the actual proximity sensor because it stays inside the bracket. It just snapped off the flex. So what I do, I always put the tweezers between that plastic wall in there and between the bracket, and I try to push the bracket so the, as you can see, bracket lift up and it push the proximity sensor, so it's much easier. So the next thing I do, I remove the home button, and with the home button you have to be really careful. The home button on them is so much different comparing to the older generations of iPhones, and you have to be really super careful. So you've got 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. Have to be careful when you're removing them. One by one, slowly. Don't push it too hard because that flex, it's the softest flex I've seen on any of the iPhones, and it's really easy to damage it. Okay, so I'm getting my the tweezers. Okay, just put it over there. That's the home button flex connector. So what I do, just go like that from that edge. So disconnected, as you can see. And now what I do, it's quite risky. If you have plastic sharp tool, do it with that. What I'm doing, I just go underneath, lift it up slightly because the flex is stick with the double side tape. So with the scalpel knife, what I'll do, I just lift the flex slightly, and then I go with the plastic tool. Just to be on the safe side. Slowly, step by step. Like I said, it's better to do it slowly than do it quickly and damage it. Okay, I've got a little bit of double side tape over there. Not double side, normal tape, but I need to remove that in order to get the home button out, because home button coming out that way. Okay, and as you can see, you just pushed through the bottom and the home button just come out like that. So you've got a little hole in there, sit that on the side, and that's the actual home button for the iPhone 7, 7 Plus is the same, and the 8 and 8 Plus have the same home button. So just put that on the side, and what I've got left, I've got 3 screws each side. So we need to take them off in order to remove the metal plate covering the LCD screen. And I've been asked a few times for a few different people, what does that metal plate does? And it's basically protection. When you smash your screen from the outside, that metal plate in there protects the logic board. If you hit with something sharp or something and it goes through the screen, it will mostly likely to stop on the metal cover, and it doesn't go through the logic board, doesn't damage it even more. Okay, so we took the screws off, lift it up from the top, and as you can see, you have to be really careful because on that edge underneath in there, there's a double side tape that holds the actual metal bit. So I get the pry tool, just put it underneath and just slide in. You can, if you do it slowly, you can actually feel how sticky it is, and it's not very sticky. Yeah, so that's it. That's the metal plate removed, and you've got the naked screen, iPhone screen. So what I do now, you see that white bit in there, that's the silencer for the proximity sensor. So what I do, to remove it without any damages, I just snap the plastic bit in there to make it more exposed. Get something sharp, like I said, I got myself a little blade. Slide, because that's sticked with the double side tape as well. Everything on iPhone is sticked with the double side tape. So that's removed. Let's put the broken screen on the side. Let's put that plastic bit on the side too. Yeah, as you can see, I got it there. That's the new screen. So the first thing I do, just to be on the safe side, I will put that white thing back. Have to make sure it go with the sticky side, it go down all the way. Okay, so that's in. We've got the side screws. So the next thing I do will be putting the metal plate back. So we basically go from the, we just reverse what we did. So put the screws. We go in the same, exactly the same order we did, just from the back. So the metal plate was the last thing we removed, and it'd be the first thing we put onto the new screen. Of course, apart from the white bit over there. And there is some people, if you can't remove that white sticker, you don't have to be bothered, because there is many repair people I know, they don't put them back. It's I don't know what is it for. It's just to make probably the proximity sensor working better in the bad lighting, or difficult to say, because I never had any problems with it without or with that thing. So I never need to bother, but I always swap them just to be on the safe side, like I said before. Okay, so we got the metal plate, it's all done. So what I do now, I put the home button back. So I got the little protective film in there. Okay, if you need the link to buy a screen, I'm selling the screens as well. You can always let me know, we can get them done for you. I can see a tiny scratch, so I probably swapped the screen with another one. I don't want to upset the customer. That's the first screen for the iPhone 7 I see like that. Never seen them with that kind of damage. I will show you in a better light in a second. Luckily I find out at the beginning of the process, so it's better to always look through the actual screen to make sure it's good before you start and go ahead. So now the tricky part. Okay, we remove the sticker. Don't know if you can see it, that line in there. It's underneath the glass. Probably someone that made the screen in the factory had a little mistake, and haven't done it properly. So let me put that on the side, forgive me for a second. Yes, I'm back with the new screen. This one is better. I've already checked, there is nothing on the actual thing. So let me peel the plastics off. Okay. Okay. Make it straight. Perfect. So we start from the beginning. Okay. sticky bit first. Okay, that's in. Now let's put the metal plate. Hope you can see everything well. Video is in 4K. I had people complaining about the quality of the videos. Most of my videos, if you go to the quality settings, most of them they in HD or even 4K. So if you can see it properly, make sure you change the actual quality of it. Okay, so we already been through that. We put the little white cover, we put the metal plate back, make sure all the connectors are nice and steady. Yeah, I can see they're all nice. So now we go through the process again, leave the plastic off. Okay. So what I'll do now, just put the home button. Slowly, so you can see our button is back in place. And that line in there, it should be straight, so yeah, that's how I'd like to be. Leave the flex a little bit. Sometimes connecting the actual flex could be quite tricky, but you have to be soft with it not to break it, because they're really super easy to break. Lift it up slightly. Sometimes you need to adjust the actual flex because it's not 100% in the center. You need, like I said before, yeah, perfect. Like I said before, you have to be really extra careful. Because once you break the home button, they're possible to replace, but the Touch ID will never work again. So I'm putting the 4 screws on the bottom back, the same order they were. And as I mentioned before, extra careful. The more careful you are, the better it is for a customer, for yourself, and for phone being fixed properly. So as you can see, while I'm putting the middle screws, the one that actually holds the home button, I push the home button down there as well, just to be on the safe side, making sure it's all aligned properly. So once you put all those screws back, just go through the screen, make sure every edge of the home button is perfectly fine. Yeah, so we've got that. We go that far, so far. So what I do, you have to make sure the earpiece speaker bracket is aligned properly. So I'm getting the flex. The flex to put it back is super easy because it still has some double side tape underneath. So we just put it there. You got like two plastic pins that hold the actual flex in place, making sure you put the earpiece back. Just swipe the camera to the bracket. Okay, and now put all the 6 screws back. I always recommend using the magnetic screwdrivers, so they hold your screws. It's much better and convenient. They might cost slightly more, but they're much easier to use, and it's more confidential for you. Okay, nearly done. Now putting the screen back could be quite tricky as well, but I keep repeating myself, but the more time you hear it, the better you do it. Take your time, don't rush. If it's your phone, obviously when you start repairing it, it doesn't have to be done in 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So just be extra careful. Yes, I can see the camera is aligned there properly. Sometimes you might have little dust or anything. You have to take it off and make sure you clean the camera. So it looks good so far to me. I got the flex in there. As I mentioned before, you have to be extra careful with that flex. Okay, so we got the screen over there. I'm just making sure everything is aligned properly, and it looks like everything is fine to me. Got a little bit of tape in there, a little bit of tape in there. Okay, so what I always do, I put the housing like that. I don't connect, the battery is the last thing I connect, just to be on the safe side. So I get that little screwdriver. Like I said, that flex, because it's bent, it's quite difficult to connect that. So I put that screwdriver on the little sponge outside the connector. I don't know if you can see it properly. Okay. Okay. And slowly, with little steps, it might be quite tricky, so spend some time on it. It's better to do it properly instead of damaging the connector. Yeah, so I felt the click, it's all in now. So what I do, I get that metal protecting bit, put it on the top of it, start with the first screw, and as I mentioned to you before, if you put all the screws in order, it's much easier for you to put the phone back together, because you know where all the screws are and where they've been, so you don't have to play with it. Oh, one screw just ran away, let me grab it. It's always good to have the tweezers with you, because there's so many magnetic points on the actual logic board, it might just grab your screw. So okay, those screws, they are so small, it could be quite tricky sometimes. Okay, got that back, kaboom, all done. So now let me connect the connector underneath, simply because when you connect it first, it'll be easier to plug the other one. So it's just a case of thinking it properly. Okay, now plug the battery. Okay, lay the metal plate down and you put the 4 screws back in the order they were. Okay, the first one in. Second one in. Third one in, and the last screw. I mean, apart from the two bottom ones that has the screen. Okay, so once they're done, put the screen nicely on the side. Slide the two clips from the bottom. And now, you can see that side didn't go in yet. It is now. Okay. And that's it. You put the two bottom screws back. Okay. They're all in. Probably the battery is dead. Yeah, I can see the battery sound. Let me grab the charger. It will probably take a little while for the battery to charge. You have to make sure the home button works and everything. So I plugged the charger in. I can see the battery sign. All I have to do now, yeah, the phone is turning on. I can see the Apple looks fine, so it'll be probably good. The protector that come with it, you just peel it off in the front of customer, so you can see the screen is nice and healthy underneath. And that's pretty much it. Let me just turn the screen off. Sometimes, I had it a few times, when you turn the phone on and it come up with the message saying that the Touch ID doesn't work. It might happen sometimes. This one that didn't show anything, which means it's all good, ready to go. When you see the message, don't get frustrated. Sometimes it might be the actual connector for the home button from the screen damaged. I catched myself a few times. I had that flex damaged and I had to use another screen. But emergency, as you can see. I can't see because of the sticker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, all the typos works. The home button works when I press. Nothing else you need. That's the screen done. So if you have any questions, please ask in the comment section below. If you need any other videos with direction on how to fix, replace the batteries, charging ports, power buttons on any iPhone, I do all of them daily. So please don't hesitate to let me know, and I'll be able to help you. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.